Jim says, compare Jesus to guys like Robin Hood, King Arthur, or Johnny Appleseed. So we'll grab Jim and bring him in. Jim, how you doing?
Hi guys,
Jim.
how you doing?
Doing well.
The reason I compare Jesus to guys like Robin Hood or King Arthur is because much like Robin Hood or King Arthur, I believe Jesus to be a legendary character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone who might have existed, but then they stretched the truth when they finally wrote everything down decades after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think there's, sort of a range of possibilities. Either everything in the Bible is literally true about Jesus, and I think the evidence is not there to support that conclusion. And on the other end, there's there never was a Jesus at all ever, and this is completely a work of fiction. And then in the middle, there's a bunch of variations of it's amalgam of a lot of different people. He was around when there were a lot of itinerant rabbis preaching, and so they sort of took the best parts. Who knows, right? We don't know. That's part of the problem. So much like King Arthur, there's a lot of people out there who think that King Arthur really existed, as did Robin Hood. And it takes some work to show people that that's probably not true. I don't know. Justin, just to clarify for our audience, the reason Justin could go straight to the scripture like that for the figs is you went to seminary and were training for all of this for many years. Isn't that correct?
That's true. Yeah. I went to Bible college and then seminary. So I completed my Master's of Divinity at an evangelical seminary, not
okay. Asterisk.
not a state university, an actual evangelical Christian seminary.
Right. So did they touch on the historicity of Jesus there and dive deeply into it, sufficiently deep, or did you not cover that?
So that's actually a really good question, because when you're in seminary, it's kind of a given that Jesus was a real person unless you take like a special course in apologetics. And believe it or not, a lot of people in seminary aren't taking apologetics courses because like you're just trying to get your training for ministry done. So there's actually a large percentage of the people at seminary that are already in ministry and they've been there for a long time. And they're like, I actually need to get certified for what I'm doing.
Wow.
And so diving really deep into apologetics and historicity sometimes just isn't really the thing they came there for.
Let's not argue and bicker about whether or not any of this is true. I need to get the dollars. So give me my certification. Is that, am I hearing that correctly? Much. Okay. All right. Good.
That's basically it. In fact, we had people that would come to do their Doctor of Divinity, which it's kind of a joke in seminary because the Doctorate of Divinity is like the pay me more degree.
Right.
Because you're not really doing like a full PhD, like someone who's studying like the Bible in depth, like someone who's looking at like an actual PhD. It's more of a professional degree.
Sure.
And so like a doctorate of ministry typically is not all that useful in making you more of a scholar. It's more useful in getting you a better paycheck because now theoretically you're a better pastor.
And you can put the DR in front of your name.
You got it. Yeah, it looks really good on paper.
Yeah. So, Jim, I think you hit on something that we can all agree on. Have you run into any experiences where you find people adamantly trying to prove that Jesus exists to you, or are you not in that game where you don't run into those sorts of people?
I've run into a few. But, again, one of the reasons I also threw in Johnny Appleseed is very simple. There was a John Chapman. He did exist. Mm-hmm. Yes, he planted apple orchards. But but did he actually wear a burlap sack for clothing and put a pot on his head? That's where you kind of say, yeah, maybe that's the legend.
Yeah, exactly. George Washington existed. We have a tremendous amount of evidence for that. We also know that a lot of people for hundreds of years believed that he chopped down a cherry tree and could not tell a lie. And we know that's probably just made up. So, yeah, like anybody, the figures can become bigger than life.
That's true. And I'm not a full myther. I think he was a real person too. But I agree with you. I think most of what we're reading about him would be classified as mythology, even if there was a real person in there somewhere.
Yep. Cool. Well, thanks, Jim.
To me, like the gospel. Okay. Great. You guys take care.
Sorry.
Cheers. Have a great one.
Didn't mean to talk about you, but yeah, thank you.
You too.